There's a key section in your book where you talk about quality client service, QCS.
Right.
What does that mean?
So the genesis of that goes back about 12 years, and it was not in a pretty stage of my employee-employer relationship. So I was very frustrated with my managers and principals. They were not, following some suggestions as far as client proactivity and networking and kind of practice development oriented things. And I kept, I really got to the point of paranoia where I felt like they were undermining me, and they were just, they were all collusion and overriding me. And so then I did divide and conquer, and I pulled them in one at a time, and to try and get the story. Well, what came out of that over the course of a few months was I realized that they weren't undermining me. They really did not understand, because they don't teach this in college. They really didn't, they don't teach it in continuing education within the firm. So I just said, okay, I'm taking a giant step back, and it took me probably a month to write it, because it's probably 8 pages, and but I basically went through at every level, and I included admin too, administrative people, and said, okay, what is everybody's role in the firm, including partners? Partners didn't get a pass. So, partners are, the end game of quality control and, the client relationship, but everybody else has a critical role. If you boil it all down, the easiest way to explain it is every level should make the next level up's job easier and identify issues early, fix them, etc. And the partners, again, we don't get off the hook. The partners is to make our clients' lives easier and anticipate issues before the client brings them up. And we can't do it all the time, but that should be our goal, is to identify those and make their lives easy.
So it was almost a part of company culture. You kind of laid out almost a mission statement and gave people some direction.
Right.
I think maybe a lot of employers don't do that, and kind of people are floundering, trying to figure out where they fit in.
Right, and so I try and make a habit of any new employee, at least within my office or offices, I try and sit down with them in the first month, and I figure that way I can indoctrinate them into at least if it isn't the HCVT, it's the Blake Christian rules of conduct on how to be successful in a CPA firm and have a happy client.
What are some of the rules that you mentioned? Making the person that's next up the chain's job a little easier. Kind of try not to leave ends dangling, that kind of thing.
Right, and we identify issues on a client. Maybe they, we've noticed on their mortgage statement that they don't have their residence properly titled. Maybe they have it just in they have it listed as separate property, but they've been married for 10 years, and we know that they've got a sound marriage, and that everything else is joint. Well, if one of them passes away in California, community property state, and it was your sole property, and you passed away, the other party would not get a full step up, or the kids wouldn't. If it was community property, both halves get stepped up, and so that can and we could potentially get sued for that by missing it. And so those are the types of things where we might have to tell the client 2 or 3 times to do that, but we get to the next year and the mortgage statement is still showing just one party's name. We need to remind them. So it's a lot of follow-up. And the other theme is, again, you can always make the right decisions with empathy. If you can put yourself in the client's shoes, you're going to make the right decision on how do you approach them on a sensitive issue. How are you going to, they're busy, but you need information because a due date's coming up. All of those things, again, if you're empathetic you're going to do a much better job on client service.